Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drawing for 100 Days. Welcome back to day 10, I believe. It's been a little bit. It's only been about 3 days, but hey, I was in another area. I didn't go too far, but it was a 5-hour drive. So, long enough to get somewhere that's sort of new. And I got mighty drunk. So I'm sure I've lost a couple brain cells and I'm still recovering them slowly. Can you recover them? I might have known that before the weekend. So, welcome to Tuesday. This is my first one after being back for a little bit. So, I decided to go out with a little bit of a banger. Decided to work a little hard for this one. So, this one's going to be a lot more than you'd think. This one's going to be a full-on sketch, the full-on line work, and the full-on color. You'll probably see from the thumbnail. And I'll give you some more context about what this character is supposed to be. But I just want to say it's nice to be back. Thank you for those who waited. I'm sorry. I technically never said this would be 100 days in a row. It's just drawing for 100 days. But yes, the full intention is to draw for as consecutively as possible by taking the minimum amount of breaks. So that is the goal. But regardless, I have this character for you today, and I'm going to give some context. Recently, a buddy of mine made a server where we can add stories, where we can essentially write stories or do world building for whatever creative works that we have. A lot of us are really into world building, creating worlds, creating characters, creating stories. Some of us have interest in writing books, and essentially it's just a hub for us to show off our ideas, compare ideas, just in general, like have a nice area for us to just converse about it. And it's been really fun. I enjoy watching my friends write, listening to how they talk about it, watching what they post, reading what they post. They even sometimes add tracks to it to see if they can change the vibe, and it's really amazing. And so recently I wrote a passage and I had a lot of fun writing it. I'm not much of a writer. I tend to do most of my world building from illustrations or visually. And so it was my first time. I guess I wouldn't say first time. It makes it seem like I've never written anything before, but I don't do it often is what I'm trying to say. And so I wrote something and I had a lot of fun, and I've just been continuously thinking about characters, settings, place, times, what could be, what might be, any conflicts that are possible. Now, I don't intend on creating a story out of it, but I intend on creating a world at least. Maybe one that I can write a couple descriptions for and describe in like a passage as if I was writing a novel. And so I thought, hey, for my return, since I'm going to start on Tuesday, I might as well draw something for it. And so the passage I wrote had two characters. It had a father figure and their daughter. And so I thought, hey, let's draw the daughter, since I tend to draw female characters, and go for the full shebang, because I'm probably going to post it in that server, so I might as well complete it as well. So this whole thing took about 6 hours. That's why this video is probably going to be a little bit longer. So I am going to describe my story a tad bit, or describe the world a tad bit. This world is inspired. I wouldn't say it's heavily inspired by it, but the main idea is from Horizon. What was it called? Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a PS5, PS4 exclusive game that's super fun if you haven't played it. I never played Forbidden West, the new one that came out, but I heard like okay things. Like I heard like it wasn't bad or anything. It's just it didn't seem to make too bit larger splash though, if I remember correctly. And so I really like the idea of a far future where it kind of resets on itself. Where like because like if humanity ever does pass, if the age of the Homo sapien passes and the majority of us are destroyed, but we're not like fully gone, how would we recover? And the way I described it was, that if you ever watch Rick and Morty, there's an episode in Rick and Morty where essentially Wooden Jerry falls asleep for a long time and periodically wakes up into different ages. And essentially time loops itself. They like create Christianity again. They're back to a Western cowboy era. They go back to Rome. Like humanity eventually repeats itself. So I like the idea of when the former age of humanity has fallen over and our buildings crumble and our technology lays waste on a barren wasteland, and as Earth and nature slowly take over, will the new human population eventually bounce back, and how will it will it do this time with the resources that it had before, and new resources that they might not remember came from a former era of Homo sapiens, or era dominated by Homo sapiens. And I thought that's a very fun idea. So in Horizon Zero Dawn, if you ever play the game, there's technology written all over the game, but they still use bows. They still act very like similar to indigenous people. And so I find that combination very exciting, where you have this what seems to be excess of technology all over the world through animals, robotics, technology. They even have a scanner that they can scan for rare materials in the game, but they still act as though they live in a old era. And it's incredibly intriguing for me. So this world is essentially a world where humans have destroyed themselves some way, somehow. I haven't fully thought of the idea, so I'm not going to go too much into specifics. But the population that's left over, there was a population that survived, and generations afterwards, they've rebound. Like there's a population that exists, but it's nowhere dominant. It's nowhere insane as before. I would say like maybe 1 million of them that abide the entire world, maybe even less, maybe like 500,000, and they're all separated throughout the country and throughout the world. So they all form like these tribes that work together. And because the former era of humans left technology around, they're left with using it as essentially a new resource that they have no idea where it comes from. It acts as though it's like a resource made by the earth. Now, I'm not saying like no one knows what it is. There are clearly some people, maybe some tribes passed on the information a lot better than other tribes. But for the majority of humans, they don't know how to use it. The humans that survived weren't all engineers, or weren't all mechanics, or weren't all electricians that knew how these futuristic technologies work, and only some information passed on. And so I'm writing a world where where it's essentially like a new generation of humans that grew up in this post Homo sapien dominant era, and it's essentially them, and essentially there's going to be a conflict about it. And I'm not sure, again, I haven't figured it a lot out, but that's essentially the basis of it all, is that the world, because scientists have pretty much all admitted that like humans have made a permanent impact on the Earth's physical geography. And so our remnants will be around for a long time. So I find it really interesting how like a human that far in the future, who doesn't know where they come from, who doesn't know anything like basic science, or like doesn't have Charles Darwin or like evolution and stuff like that, how they would view a skyscraper. Like, do they view it as a vertical cave? Would they view it as some mountain range that just so happens to look super square and super planned and structural? Or will they have some theories that it might be some ancient civilization, not knowing that it was actually their own species from before? And I find that extremely fascinating to write about. And so yeah, that's essentially what the basis of the character is going to the basic of the story is going to be. And I find that very fun. And so this character, I think that her name is going to be Nye, N-Y, is going to be my first ever illustrated character for this new world that I hope to continue for a long period of time. But of course, I don't know, whenever my creative endeavors run dry and I feel bored with this world, it will die, and all my ideas will die with me and with it. Or it will last for a lifetime as a project that I will care for, love, and bring into my future, that maybe one day other people will experience and love just as much as I. But that is just wishful thinking. So besides that, I appreciate you guys sitting around and listening to my rant about my story. I hope to show more about it if I can, if possible. I'll probably have to learn how to draw backgrounds, or at least get better at them. And besides that, Thank you for sticking around. If you like the video, my rambling, you would love to hear more. I'm doing this series for a reason. Subscribe, leave a like, comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. If you don't want to do any of that, please critique the drawing if possible. That's really one thing I want a lot from this videos, is that you guys critique my art and give me advice on what can improve, what can work, what works, what doesn't work. Even if you just want to say I like it and I don't like it, that's enough for me. If you say you like it, I'm doing something good. If you say you don't like it, I have something to look out for. I have something to search, something wrong to find. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I don't know if I said this in the intro, but I do want to say, for those returning, thank you. It means a lot. It really does, especially those who waited the 3 days to come back. And for those who are just joining us, I appreciate you just the same. I hope that you continue on my journey. And besides that, yeah, have a great day and enjoy the time lapse of the drawing. Bye-bye. So see you tomorrow.